Recently, I was in a brief live and the person was talking about forgiveness. And I said, I don't. I literally put in the chat, I don't. Forgiveness is for God. Let me tell you why. They say, no, forgiveness is really for you, not the other person. Is it? Or is it for God? Let me give you an example. David murdered someone for lusting after his wife. So that God forgave him, but not without consequence. God made David lose his mind because he did that. Remember, David danced out of his clothes, but that was a consequence from lusting after someone. I'm going to give you another example. In the garden, God forgave Adam and Eve, but not without consequence. They were never able to go into the garden again. God said, I love you, but you got to get the hell out of here. God said, you know what? You ain't got to go home, but you got to get the hell out of the... let's finish the sentence, cliche like. I'm going to give you another example. The Bible says what? If thy right eye offend thee, what? Pluck it out. Does that sound like forgiveness? Give you another example. Solomon had what? Was it 700 concubines? 300 wives? Or it could have been the other way around. I just know he had 1,000 little ladies. It was 1,000. Indefinitely. He started worshiping those gods that these women were into and that they worshipped and they looked up to, right? So what did God do? God let Solomon's enemies overtake him. And he lost the Ark of the Covenant. So does anybody catch my drift about forgiveness? I'm not saying that people don't make mistakes. Like this lady, she went in on me. She's like, I feel sorry for you. That's an ego thing. And when someone is wrong, you don't want to forgive them. It's not my place. When I need forgiveness, this is what I do. For somebody else or for me, because if somebody did me wrong or I did them wrong, this is what I do. I pray. And I go, God, wait a minute. Should I forgive myself for this? Because I understand that forgiveness is an action word. It's not what you think. It's not. People use forgiveness like it's a Band-Aid. They're like, well, if I just say this, move on. No, forgiveness is an action word. Why? There's the word for. Why do you think for is before give? Because for means foresight. Give means a gift. Give yourself the gift of foresight, because forgiveness is not really for necessarily the issue at hand. It's possibly dealing with time. What you do to correct yourself today for the foresight to give yourself the correction is really for the future. That's why it's for you. So that when you come across an issue that you were struggling with in the past, you know how to maneuver around that. That's what forgiveness is. It's education. It's acknowledgement that a judgment needs to be made. But should you give it to God or yourself? Then she goes, well, that's really for the ego. Exactly. You need to humble yourself and have the, she tied pride into it. Yes, have the ego and the arrogance to ask God to put his foot in your prostate. Are you willing to do that? So you can have the foresight to forgive the judgment. Because, sometimes we could be our own worst critic. Sometimes we could be harder on ourselves than God would be. Sometimes God, I don't know about you, but sometimes God be like, well, okay, wait a minute. Let me wheel this back in. You're doing a little bit much. I wanted you to forgive yourself, not kill yourself. I just made this video because I know when I said that statement, like, God forgives, I don't, I sounded like a cold, callous person. Like, oh my God, I sound like a person that would never do wrong. No, I understand what forgiveness is. You just think you do.